Hi! So back in December I made a video called My 5 Most Anticipated Books of 2020, and since then I've only managed to read one single book because all of them have yet to come out. So I thought it would be nice to add 5 more to the list, and so I'll be talking about those today. Also, I would just like to mention that they're not ranked in any particular way. The first one is Ringshot by Djeli Clark. I've been a fan of Clark's work since reading The Black God's Drums back in 2018, and since then I think I've read all of his works, so that includes The Haunting of Tramcar 015 and A Dead Djinn in Cairo. The thing that I really like about Clark's work is that it's really original. The Haunting of Tramcar 015, for instance, was set in an alternate Egypt, where you had these fantastical science fiction and historical elements mixing, creating like this very cool steampunk-esque world, and the same goes for The Black God's Drums. Anyway, Ringshot is a dark fantasy historical novella. Okay, so I'm going to be honest here, I didn't completely understand the synopsis here, but I believe that this book is set in America and follows this woman called Maurice Bordeaux. You also have this sorcerer called D.W. Griffith, and he, I think, cast a spell which drew from the darkest thoughts and wishes from the heart of America. And now you have a group which is called the Klan, and they are growing in power and prominence, and they have a plan to unleash hell on earth. Now, Maurice is a bootlegger in Georgia, but on the side she also fights monsters who she calls Ku Kluxes. Together with a sharpshooter and a hellfire, don't know what that is, she is going to try and save the world. So my perception is that this story centers around fighting this KKK that now has like dark magic, and yeah, I'm just very excited to read more of Clark's work. Another book that I'm really looking forward to is The Invisible Life of Addie LaRue by V.E. Schwab. Now, I have actually never read anything by Schwab, but I'm hoping to make a change in that very, very soon. I know that she's very into writing dark fantasy, which is one of my favorite genres, and this book just sounds so good. Now, this book is set in France 1774. There is a young woman who makes a Faustian-like bargain to live forever, but everyone oh my god, there is such a huge spider! Mom!
20 minutes later.
Okay, the problem has been solved. Where were we? So this woman makes a Faustian bargain to live life forever, and so she is cursed to be forgotten by everyone who she meets. This is the start of Addie LaRue's extraordinary life. It's an adventure that plays out across centuries and continents, across history and art, as Addie learns how far she will go to leave a mark on the world. After nearly 300 years, however, in a hidden bookstore, she meets a young man who remembers her name. I don't know what it is about this synopsis that just grabs me, but I am so into this. Like, I mean, we have a pact, I guess, with the devil. I don't know, maybe it's like the Faustian bargain that's giving me like this macabre feel to it. Living 300 years, what would somebody do for 300 years in order to be remembered? I don't know, it just sounds so good, and I'm so very excited to read this one. Moving on, we have The Only Good Indians by Stephen Graham Jones. I actually didn't know about Graham until I read The Mythic Dream, and that's why I love anthologies so much, because you can get to know so many different authors. Anyway, apparently he's been a very prolific writer, especially like on the darker side of fiction, so I'm actually very excited to read more of his work. I believe he also has a novella coming out in September, so I'm also really looking forward to snagging that one. Anyway, let's talk about The Only Good Indians. The book follows a group of 4 American Indian men. A disturbing event in their youth has put them in a desperate struggle for their lives. They are being tracked by an entity that is bent on revenge. And so these childhood friends are helpless as the culture and traditions they left behind catch up with them in a violent and vengeful way. I am so stoked to read this book. I am always looking for more horror written by people of color, because I believe that that is something that the horror genre is really lacking. The richness that can come from stories being informed by different cultures and different traditions. And so when I see stories and authors like this, I'm like, yes, this is exactly what I've been looking for such a long time. Then I have Trouble the Saints by Elia Dawn Johnson. This book is set in New York City at the dawn of the Second World War. It is centered around a girl from Harlem who is drawn to the glittering underworld of Manhattan. She is hired to use her knives to strike fear amongst its most dangerous denizens. The ghosts of her past, however, are always by her side, and history has appeared on her doorstep to threaten the people she loves most. The question is, can a woman ever sacrifice enough to save an entire community? From reading the synopsis, I'm not too sure what this story is all about. I do know that this book contains a historical exploration of the Underground Railroad, and that's the thing that really grabbed my attention. I'm really interested in seeing how the Underground Railroad is used in fiction, particularly in combination with fantastical elements. For instance, The Water Dancer by Ta-Nehisi Coates. There's also this book called The Underground, I believe, which was supposed to come out this year, but I believe it got postponed to next year. Anyway, I think this is very interesting, so I'm very, very eager to get a copy of this book. Then finally, the last book is People from My Neighbourhood by Hiromi Kawakami. If you've been subscribed to my channel for a while, you'll know that I read a lot of Japanese literature. I'm really interested in Japanese culture and the language, etc., etc. So Kawakami is one of the most prominent Japanese authors of this time, especially outside of Japan. You might know her works like The 10 Loves of Mr. Nishino, or Strange Weather in Tokyo, or I believe the Nakano Thrift Shop. This book, People from My Neighbourhood, is actually a short story collection, and it contains a range of stories that are all centered in one neighbourhood. You have an apartment that leaves its visitors afflicted, from fast-growing beards to an ability to channel the voices of the dead. You have a story about two girls called Yoko who are locked in a bitter rivalry to the death, and so much more. An interesting development in Japanese literature is that it seems, at least to me, that a lot more female Japanese authors are being translated to English compared to men, and it feels like a lot of that fiction is contemporary with fantastical elements mixed into it. So I think it would be very interesting to read a lot of recently translated Japanese literature and do like a little analysis of that. But yeah, who knows? Anyway, those were another 5 books I'm really looking forward to this year. Thank you very much for watching, and I hope to see you in another video.